gonna be a silly ass episode. I am fucking 50 milligrams deep.
Hmm.
I am sore as shit from that show last night. I am fucking on one. So yeah, I'm gonna be a backseat driver on this bitch.
All
So
right, all right. Intro music plays. Do 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 do. Oh wait, no, that's the outro music. Intro music plays.
that is
Spooky music. I don't remember how our own intro music plays. Do 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 do. All right, this is the podcast you listen to where silly clowns make silly choices, and in that things get silly. This is the Devil's Work podcast. We talk about movies and we make dick jokes occasionally.
Oh, so many.
a lot.
Yeah, so many.
Actually.
My name's Austin. This is Sideshow. This is Skeptic. They're also known as Joey and Chad. And we're talking about
I'll be using my government name like that.
this. We're talking about the competitor with Krampus now, the greatest Christmas movie of all time, Terrifier 3.
Yeah, for
In my heart of hearts, it'll always be Die Hard. But this is a pretty good one. This is a pretty good one. This is a cut from our Icky Quickies collection.
Yeah.
So this one's a little fresh. It's a little new. There's not as much time for us to sit here in our armchair swirling our Incredible Hulks. Because that's our generation. It's not a fine brandy.
The wound is definitely still very fresh for this one.
Sipping our galaxy gas.
There you go. You ever had jungle juice in a fine armchair? What's so funny about that?
No,
but Terrifier 3. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, the true mean spirit of Christmas. That's what I was thinking of this whole movie.
Nothing about this movie was holly jolly.
No. The true mean spirit of Christmas. The mean spirited is just the best way to sum up the first 15 minutes of this movie, and then the next hour and 45 minutes after it.
Dude,
just
it's nihilistic as fuck. I love this movie.
It is, and that's what I was saying a minute ago too. That like these movies don't really have like a moral center or like a big grandiose statement on humanity. It's not about fixing the bonds with your mother or about childhood trauma. It's just about a fucking harlequin madman named Art the Clown just ripping and tearing his way through hedonism too. Absolutely. By which I mean Miles County.
So if you haven't seen Terrifier, I just want to say now, it doesn't matter if you watch the other two. Somebody here today took it upon himself to do extra credit and watch all three in succession in the last 12 hours.
Good.
I'm a sick man.
Clap.
I've been on an emotional journey.
So
we'll cover it.
Yeah, me and Joey saw the first one when it came out like 6 years ago. The second one came out like 2 years ago at this point, and now I just saw this one. And if you haven't seen the first two, you should. I agree with Joey. Watch the second one, but even then, you can watch this and kind of pick it apart, like piece it together.
They did a
really
good job
just
of
seeing
the
this
context clues. Like they really did a good job
for $2 million budget just going into prosthetics is what you're seeing.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because when you watch the first one, because of the way it's framed, they have like sort of a framing device at the beginning where you have a survivor of his previous rampage. And I knew on like a meta level, like outside of the art piece, I knew that Leone had done All Hallows Eve, and that was where art like originally came from, and that I think he has one other short film that has art in it. So I knew that there sort of was like this previous history with the character. So I was like, oh, okay, they're sort of alluding to this like official, unofficial, these other movies where, maybe it's not the same art. It's just this character being worked out through these multiple art pieces, But then the way the movie ended, I was like, oh, okay, it's none of that.
No.
It's a little senseless. It's sort of in the way it worked. But it ends up being that first movie is itself a prequel to the other two movies, even though it came out as the original thing. Like I think it would work maybe even better to be like, wow, I really like 2 and 3. I just want to watch Art kill more people. Oh, hey, there's this prequel of sort of like his first rampage. Like that's kind of what it like almost feels like. Even though of course, a movie that has a sequel is the prequel to its own sequel. But like you kind of see what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, as convoluted as it kind of gets in this third one, it's a pretty linear story. Like,
Convoluted. This is a
I
goddamn masterpiece. Are you
mean, I'm
kidding
not
me?
saying, and I mean, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I do
This,
mean there was just a lot of threads to keep track of that I
no, you're
even
right.
forgot about. Because again, I'd only seen this. I'd seen the first one when it first came out, and I was like, that was fucked up. Pretty cool. All right, word. Second one came out. I'm like, that was fucked up and a little too long, but I get what they were
Hmm.
going for. Pretty cool. And this third one, I mean, yeah, I love it now. Like this was a series that definitely grew on me. But I
Same.
mean, having not seen the first two in so long and having the third one, I was pretty confused going into it. And then like again, the context clues for what was going on. There's a little bit of handful like spoon feedy moments for the audience for the like backstory of everything. So it's kind of handed to you, but it's not bad. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like most of it was context clues. Like I forgot about Nikki and her whole character and everything. I was like, who, what now? Who the fuck? Like, and
I
then eventually
I
I understood.
gotta say, building off of that, if you want to see this in a theater, which this is what it's made for. We don't get
Yeah.
movies like this in theaters. These are movies that are like crowdfunded on Indiegogo, if that's
Oh,
even still a thing anymore, and then like
100%. Yeah.
barely gets scraped by, and then it gets made, and then 30 people see it by the time it gets made. This is like
Mhm.
$2 million budget on this one.
You,
Biggest independent film. It got 20 million, like 18 point something million over the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
you,
Um,
you
but
guys mentioned this character Nikki earlier too. Who the fuck is Nikki?
I don't know if her name's Nikki. I know it starts with an M. She is the woman that survives the first one. She is the right hand man in this third
Oh,
movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Victoria, Vicky.
Vicky. There you go.
Vicky.
There was
Okay.
okay. Okay. My bad.
Okay, I was like,
Bad
how
information,
fucking
Austin.
bad am I at?
Well, okay, okay. When
I
your
was like, how
face,
bad am I at watching movies? I just watched 4 hours of
when
Terrifier today.
Yeah.
when your
Exactly.
face is peeled off by an evil clown and you're
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking a piece of glass and you're possessed by a demon and you're
Yeah. Spoilers,
you
by
sound
the
like that
way.
the whole
That's good.
time. I'm
Yeah.
sorry that I mixed up a V with an N.
No, it's okay. I was just confused. I just wanted to make
No,
sure
no,
that
I know.
like I
No, no, no.
understood.
It's fine. Just don't let it happen again.
Yeah, yeah. Just know your place. Just know your place.
You fucking buffoon.
So
Um,
yeah, I mean, that being said, I would highly recommend go and watch this in theaters right now before we get even into the story.
yeah, I will say just in terms of like pure like had I had I seen Terrifier 1 when it first came out, I don't think I would have ever watched 2 and 3.
Yep,
I
I
thought
feel it.
I felt like as a film, 1 was terrible.
Mhm.
As an effects reel, as a show of proof
Fantastic.
of what these guys could do,
Yep.
it's a little bit more interesting, but ultimately the pacing is bad, the acting is bad, there's
Hmm.
no story.
Hmm. Hmm.
I would never have 6 years later gone, oh yeah, let me see if they overhauled everything, and thankfully they did.
Yeah.
But I feel
Yeah.
like in 2 they overcompensated a little bit more to the point where like 55 minutes of the beginning of this movie is just like we swear to God these are characters and like they do things and
Oh
they're like
yeah. No, that's
not
yeah.
just there
Yeah.
to die.
Hundred
And
percent. That's exactly what my gripe was with part two when it came out, and that's why I was even surprised. Like I kind of went into this one with lower expectations, and I was like, let's just see let's see what they got,
it,
And
it
then I was pleasantly surprised.
it felt a lot like when Trump won office in 2016. Do you
God damn it!
hold
where
on,
were
hold on.
I'm
you?
not clipping any
Wait,
of
wait,
this
wait, wait. No,
shit.
no, it's not bad. Do you remember the look on his face when he won? Like just the like, oh shit, I actually did it. Like he kind of looked,
Oh, I have
I
to
gotta
do
do
this now.
that's what I feel about the first one, where he's like, I'm just gonna make some crazy shit with this budget. Does it? It gets so successful. It gets so successful, and he's like, fuck, now I gotta make an actual movie. Like I gotta make a story out of this somehow. We're getting a bigger budget, boys. Let's
I
go.
will say that as well, like as a compliment to him, like he is on record as saying people said the first movie didn't have a story,
Mhm.
and they're right. I didn't know how to write a story. I thought that I had made like this great thing, and then people pointed out something that was bad about it. So he spent like 3 months retooling the Terrifier 2 script to
Yeah.
give it, you know, uh, they call her Cece in the second movie, Sienna,
Sienna.
to give
Yeah. Yeah.
Sienna, and now he says that Sienna is like the soul of the series to him.
Yeah.
And I think what they ended up doing with a lot of that stuff is really, really interesting. But obviously this whole series is a big throwback to the Icon era,
Yeah.
to Michael Myers, not Mike Myers, Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy,
Mhm.
fucking Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun in Space.
Specifically in the hood.
Sienna is literally just what is it, Laurie Strode at this point? Like,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if Laurie
She's yeah.
Strode became Jesus Christ by this point, essentially by the end of it, she is
Yeah.
just a
I
martyred
I swear to
Laurie
God, I just
Strode.
expected you were gonna go Sienna's anus backwards.
What the fuck?
I just have to be on my toes
Oh my
around this
god. Yes,
guy.
No,
that's
no, no, no,
fair. That's
no.
fair.
But I do want to say before we actually talk about the movie we came here to talk about, if you haven't seen any of these, and to give a good pitch, a good elevator pitch, this third movie in particular feels like the director of August Underground gets pitched an opportunity to direct a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Oh my god, that's
When
so
when we got when
again,
we
you're
got to the
fucking
point
accurate.
when
That's
we got to the point of the song,
god damn it.
I was like fully on board.
Yeah, I know.
I've never in a franchise gone from I hate this, it's insipid and vapid and it's
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
I was like I have to watch another 4 hours of this. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
yeah, yeah.
This is the continuation to the Evil Dead series that I want, that I never got from that
But
show.
I went
He
from
said,
that to by the time they're playing the "It's a Terrifier
yeah,
Christmas,"
yeah, the music. I was just like,
I
fuck
was
yeah.
I was like, "You son of a bitch! Why am I enjoying this?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Dude, that's what I was saying. Yeah, this is a series that absolutely grew on me. And this is like the pinnacle of their fucking achievement, I think. This is like the best that they've ever done in the entire series.
He went from glorified crowd-funded effects reel to more of a real film, but he was so closely emulating those 80s movies. There
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
really anything like shining through in the like pacing and dialogue and all those things, except for just the straight up like aping of those movies.
Yeah.
But by the time he gets to three, it's really got its own identity. It feels like a real movie. The
Yeah.
difference in quality
100%.
when we go back to the Terrifier ride when he goes to see the body, the cop at the beginning of
Yeah.
three,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
even though it's the same set and everything, it just looks so much better, so much different.
Yep.
It like looks he went from glorified effects reel to real movie, and by also kind of like leaving behind some of like, yeah, I don't need to shoot it just like a John Carpenter Halloween. Like by doing that, it gave it its own thing. So it really, like this whole transformation is like really, really interesting to watch. So for that reason, I would say one, two, three, watching it that way has merit. But as you're watching one, just know it does get better.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what's
yeah,
really
absolutely.
the more you the way you just explained that made me like this a lot more, because this makes me think of it in terms of like, in like the comedy scene, how a lot of older comics shit on younger comics because of like Instagram reel clips where everything has to be crowd work now, everything has to be,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
clipped
yeah.
on social
Yeah.
media. And I do see the merit in that criticism, because by the time you see your favorite comedian, and you're following them, you see their whole set because they're working out their set in real time. And it's kind of cool though to see a director almost going to directing school and being like self-taught in front of
Well,
you. You're
yeah,
seeing that first
yeah,
movie get made and he's like,
that's funny.
this didn't work, we're going to tweak it a little.
For
Second movie gets
sure.
made, oh, I got to tweak it the other way. And it's like this constant teetering that we're seeing getting
Yeah.
leveled out by the third
100%.
one.
Because
Yeah.
in the first movie, none of it feels earned. Even like the hacksaw kill, I was just like, I was like, I'm bored. I was like, this is a cool idea, but like you haven't done anything to earn this, so
Yeah.
ultimately, I just end up thinking like this is kind of stupid.
What did I
it's
call that, Joey? I called it yesterday. What did I call the first Terrifier movie? Like liberal bone tomahawk.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
It's just queer polycule bone tomahawk.
He does a lot of scalping. Art is like really into scalping,
Really into scalps.
and as a white horror icon, that's kind of problematic.
He ain't got no
Kind
hair.
of problematic. Does he not? I guess when we see him in the laundromat. Yeah.
Let's get into the spoilers for this one. I really want to talk about it. So yeah,
All right.
go ahead, go check it out. We're gonna spoil this
Dude,
shit.
there's no trigger warnings either.
There's
like if you have an aversion to
fucking all
anything,
of
it's in
them?
here. Like just all of them.
Literally
We're
all
not
of
even going to
them.
focus on that. That's the
But
point of these movies.
That's
But
what
weirdly,
yeah.
at the same time, like something I usually don't like to see is like not crossing the street but going up the road. And
Yeah.
when they do
yeah.
that, when
Yeah,
they
that
do
was
that in
rough.
this movie, I
Yeah.
mean, again, having watched two, which is like 2.5 hours right before I went to the theater,
Crazy.
um, I know, I'm not
You're
gonna deny it
fucking
for a while.
insane for that one, dude.
By the time she goes up the road, I was just like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
For
like
sure.
not like
For
it didn't
sure.
affect me, but like it didn't
Yeah.
make me like squirm like it normally
Yeah.
does. Because
This
that
time
was
though,
I was like,
I will say that one.
I've been
Yeah.
broken down. What do you want from
Absolutely.
I
me?
didn't squirm,
Absolutely.
but that was
Yeah.
the one time I almost felt like the Catholics that have been protesting this movie since it came out last Friday. I kind of was just like, really? Like, I felt old, but it almost was impressive. I'm like, oh, you almost got me. I was almost upset right there.
Hmm.
Just, it was just so,
Yeah.
like, you saw like the glass tugging at the skin as it ripped. Like, it was so
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
real.
that shit is really rough.
It's funny to me too that after the that scene in the first one, I can tell a lot of people probably said like, you know, that's kind of problematic that you just like did that scene. It was like so unearned. It was such a just like pure shock, like kind of weird that you would like victimize a woman in that way. And
Mhm.
definitely in both 2 and 3, there are pee related kills.
Let's
So
not
so
talk about the PP
I mean,
related kills just yet. I got,
we
dude, yesterday.
we're gonna
Oh my
have to at
God.
some point.
yeah, I was gonna
I know
say
that. Ooh,
pretty integral to this fucking
ooh.
Did he get
series.
Ooh.
recircumcised lately? What's up?
Yeah, the blade came back around and it stitched it back together.
That just reminds me of my favorite Death Clock song,
I
"Sewn Back
it
Together Wrong."
yeah. I will say though, the design on the bathroom was fucking sick. That's where that really shined for me. Was like
Oh
the
yeah,
sets this time
Mhm.
around really were fucking. They shined
And
like
and
really, really fucking prominently.
that's the
It was
80s
cool.
cliche that Chad was talking about that this pulls from. I mean, it's kind of a trope all around forever, but you see a pristine white room and you're like, oh, this is going to be the worst part of the movie. This is going to be the goriest kill. We got enough white in here to like paint the walls red. And like as soon as you see, are you talking about that scene when you said the bathroom?
no.
No, no, no.
When they discover
When
her
they
in the
discover
bath,
her in the
Oh, with the
bathtub, yeah,
vines. Well, even
yeah.
that alone,
yeah,
yeah,
But I
like
mean,
then
also
100%.
hard. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
same with what you're about to say too.
Because
I
it's so
agree.
boring
Yeah,
and bland. It's like
yeah,
white tile floor, but they
yeah.
somehow, I don't know how they color grade it. They get this grit going that feels like an 80s VHS, but it also feels like clear HD. It feels so grimy, but so clean. And I love that about this movie. It has a visual style while somehow being so poorly, like shitty acted, just bad straight to TV type of,
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
balances this tightrope of like
I
B movie and like something I want to see in a theater.
I think it really evolved. Like 1 and 2
Yeah.
both had a lot of that, but Sienna is a good actor, and
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
she carries 2 and 3. The
Absolutely.
mom in 2 I absolutely hated because she was such a cardboard like cutout of a terrible mom, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And that's usually a hard thing for me in movies when someone is just such a like cliched moron that like there's no humanity underneath. She's like, "Oh my God, someone broke into my house and completely vandalized my car. I guess I'll just be mad at my son. It must have been him." You know, like
Was she, all I remember from that second movie because of how graphic it was
was the mashed
obviously,
potatoes.
was that the bed scene?
No, after she gets her face blown off with a sawed-off shotgun, he's in the car waiting while she's cleaning the car off, and when she wipes the window, he blows her head off. And then he props her up at the dinner table, and when Jonathan comes home, Art comes out wearing an apron, and he has like a crock pot, and it's full of mashed potatoes, and he just takes a handful and he shoves it into like the throat opening and what's left of her
Oh,
head.
I forgot about
Okay,
that,
all I
dude.
remember from that
Waka
movie
waka.
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
the bed
yeah.
scene. So like you talking about this is crazy because I thought I remembered more of that movie until you're
No,
talking about
dude,
it
it's
now, and I'm like,
crazy.
oh, I
So
retain nothing.
I really okay, that's something I did want to bring up though too. I admire the fact that Art also uses guns.
Yeah,
I hate it. I'm gonna
No,
be
yeah, yeah, for
honest.
sure. No,
That's
for
one of my
sure.
big gripes. But
No,
please
for
go
sure.
on.
I get it. I get it. Like, and 100%. I no, but to make like it's the biggest fuck you to the audience and like to to everyone in general to make him just be like, all right, fuck it, get the 9.
yeah,
when
yeah.
when
Because like in the bar scene, he goes out of his way to make like a liquid nitrogen fire hydrant.
Yeah,
But
for
then
sure.
he has like a
For sure. He just
comedically
like,
large
fuck it.
clown hammer that he'll break your
That's
hands
what I'm
with.
saying.
And he
Yeah.
goes in between both of those with just like a Glock.
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm
there's
saying.
something
It's so fucking funny, dude.
I guess, I mean, you guys are kind of winning me over on it a little bit, but
Yeah.
ultimately I'm kind of just like, I just feel like it breaks the rules of what he's supposed to be. And the first
Yeah.
time he used it, I like, you can ask Amanda. She walked in right before he pulled the gun in Terrifier 1. I started like howling laughing. I was like, oh my God, that was so funny. That was so perfectly timed. I was like, that was great. That was like the most earned thing in this whole movie was him just being like, fuck you, you get the blicky. But then when he went and reloaded his gun and it took him 8 minutes and then he came back and shot her in the face 12 more times, I was like, all right, you had me and you lost me, you piece of shit.
Dude, it's so, but okay, that's what I'm saying. It's one of those things where I'll even bring this up because it's going to tie into the beginning of this film. The cold opening really reminded me of like Funny Games type of shit, like that dark, brooding like tone. But even in Funny Games, that's one thing I love about that movie. It is a giant middle finger to the audience. At the ending when everything just kind of goes off. I'll save that for our episodes. We are absolutely covering.
You mean the ending or the remote thing?
The remote thing is that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the ending. But like,
See, and I also hate that.
That's what I'm saying. I love it.
Like that makes me. Yeah, we'll cover it when we get there.
We'll cover this shit. But that's what I'm saying. But it is about. That's what I love about art being. Just be like, all right, fuck it. Like pull out the gun. I love that shit.
Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I'm just like, man, I would have much rather Leone actually have to use his brain to go, okay, how is he going to overpower two big dudes and then this like kind of scrawny older guy that's there, but it's still three guys.
Yeah.
But like I would have rather like figured out like, okay, how is he going to outsmart them? But to just pull a gun, like the first time it was so fucking funny. When he did it to the mom, it worked. It also set up Jonathan being able to grab it off of his leg earlier. When he shot himself in the first movie, that also worked. I was also totally cool with that.
Yeah.
But once we got the clown cafe thing in the second movie, which is also like my other big gripe about this, he like kind of just.
It was dorky.
He just became Freddy Krueger all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she's like still having like images from it, and they keep bringing it up like it's like a real experience she had.
Yeah.
So maybe as we unravel more of like her dad's secret history with art and stuff, maybe they'll go, she was at the clown cafe when she was a child, you know?
Yeah.
That could bring it back. But as of like now, I'm just sort of like, it's so weird. It's such a big plot point when it was like totally just like a dream sequence. You know what I mean? But,
is that the scene where it's almost like an indoor playscape?
And then he pulls out the Tommy gun and he just kills like 40 people.
Other part I remember. So that's what I was thinking of. And they referenced that, and I was like, I think that's what they're talking about, but I wasn't sure.
But it is wild that we always get a mass shooting with art or a mass killing.
That's the one. That's the one.
And it's always kids.
Statement.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's kids too. It's fucking crazy.
And, oh man, speaking of kids in this movie, I 1000% knew there was going to be a bomb.
Oh yeah, like it's pretty. Yeah.
As soon as he starts the scene where like he goes up because he's dressed like Santa for most of the movie, or for like a third, 2/3 of the movie. He's dressed like Santa.
60%, I would say he's probably.
Which I think is partially to like not have to go back to the dry cleaner so soon. Is like as soon as he changes, he just starts killing people, and I'm like, you got schmutz on you, like. But yeah, he's dressed up as Santa, and there's a mall Santa, and the mall Santa goes on break, and then he comes up, and he has like a Santa mask on, but then he took the mask off and went out there as Art the Clown, and that's kind of another thing is like, even though this is the town where he keeps murdering people either do not at all know what he looks like, even though there's been all this like media coverage, or they just totally assume he's in costume. but like for little kids to approach Art the Clown Santa Claus is like pretty like stupid in all honesty. But
He's just Bugs Bunny.
Well, yeah, because they have the Tom
so he's
Savini.
trans.
Well, that's why he had the beard on, obviously.
Yeah, it took me a while
no.
to realize that he had done that. It took me a while, like near the end of the movie, I was like, oh, he's got his beard stuck to his face.
But that's a thing. Shortly after the explosion, they have the Tom Savini cameo of him as the bystander.
I knew
I
recognized him. I was like, who is this fat Al Pacino looking motherfucker?
He has to be such a mega fan with how this is just a props galore, like love letter to prosthetic effects. But like you were saying, for him to have been like, yeah, I just noticed him as he was walking out and he was weird looking, but all the parents and every bystander and the security guard and all the elves and all the kids looked directly at him, and like no news covered that. Like, no, like, hey, this weird clown motherfucker blew up the mall and he looks just like the serial killer that died, and the schizophrenic woman is saying that they're being chased by him. Maybe we should investigate this. And also the 19 other killings that happened in the last 40 minutes.
They're literally like, we do not have a suspect. Going to an eyewitness. There's a suspect. There's a fuck. Like they need to be looking for this guy. What? Like, but I mean, 100%. There's a lot of magic in this, so maybe there's some glamour involved.
Yeah. And we do get like literally the plot point. Before I get into this plot point, I want to circle back to that opening real quick because I wanted to throw in that opening scene really scared me, but not, I mean, it was tense, but it scared me on the setup for how the movie was going to lay out, because it's 2 hours and 5 minutes. And to have 2 adults and 2 children brutally slaughtered, and we see one of the children dismembered, which is what is my thing that I always say, Joey? And it sounds insane until I explain it. And guess what I'm going to do? Not explain it. We need to kill more kids.
I was going to say, you'd rather see a dead child than father one.
I'd rather pay, for that. That's a quick 500 right there. Cut that out for the love of God.
That must
cut that out.
Wow, you guys get the Midwest discount. I believe it's 600 here. I keep $600 in my sock drawer for the day that the IUD fails.
You get a punch card here, and the 10th one's. Oh, I feel bad about that. Okay,
when you do the 10th one, they just give you to the Westboro people outside.
They give you half off on the 11.
God damn it! Move the fuck on. Move on.
Okay. Moving.
There's at the end of the movie. There's a line. Right. There's a line at the end of the movie where she goes, "Don't kill her, she's a baby." And I was like, I'm pretty sure Art has just taken 2 toddlers by the ankles and just smacked them together. Like,
okay.
That's free, Damien. That's free.
Real quick, at the beginning of this movie, we get that opening, and it's so fucking tight and solid. It's amazing.
I'm just dying at the idea of him like beating a mother to death with her twin babies,
tying them up by the onesie sleeve.
Yeah, that's literally, there you go, Damien.
No, but we get that opening is so brutal because we don't see the kid getting killed at first. We just hear the thunking, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. You're gonna be ballsy enough to kill the kid, but not on camera. Fair. And then we go in, we get the husband's head scene. That shit's nuts. Like 3 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
I'm never sure with like kids and stuff. I'm never sure what kind of like decency standards or laws come into play. Yeah. In the second movie, we see Art inject Sienna, and Sienna's like 21, 22 in the first movie. Like she goes out drinking and a bar IDs her, and the bartender gives her a drink. So she got to be like college age. But we see her get injected in the first movie by like the grossest, slimiest fucking syringe. And then in this movie, he goes to inject, I think it's Abigail, the cousin. He goes to inject like one of the children, but we don't see the injection.
And we just see 14 children being blown up in a mall.
That's exactly what I was like, weird. Yeah, it's a weird image.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I wonder, You know, like, are you just not allowed to show that with a kid? If it's like a forced injection, like you can show a
Yeah.
kid like getting a shot on a fucking TV
Yeah.
show, like
We
getting
don't want we
injected.
don't want to like, like promote the jab or anything crazy,
I guess.
I
I'm
guess.
I
sorry.
guess.
There we
That's a
go.
joke. That's a
God
joke.
damn
Don't
it,
put that
Austin.
on
Every
YouTube. No, but
goddamn fucking
no,
time.
I know what you mean because no, I felt that way because he'll dismember in Tommy Gun Blast, like in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like 14 children on a playground, but it's too far with a syringe to the neck. But like,
Yeah, I'm just not sure. Or
those,
maybe because he did all that, they were like, just cut this thing.
yeah, that's his one
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know the ratings board will kind of cut you a deal. Like they'll be like, okay, we really don't want you to do X, Y, and Z. If you don't do, two of these things, we'll
Oh
let you
yeah.
do the third
Yeah.
one because
Mhm.
it's like the
That's
least
what the whole
egregious.
headache is you have to keep going back and forth with
But
those fuckers.
but that's kind of my whole gripe right there.
But
It's not even a
also,
gripe.
I will say this isn't rated, so
Oh,
Oh,
was it not?
no, it's
Okay.
not. It's
Oh
not
shit,
rated.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I was like,
I think even with unrated films though, there's still like a level of like they just won't pick it up if you're just
yeah,
showing
like
like
something they
full on
have to adhere to.
penetration.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for
They
sure.
just won't show it.
Yeah.
That was kind of my whole thing though with the intro was I was kind of scared after seeing that because it was so well done, so bloody, like 6 bodies dead or like 4 or 5 at this point in like 10 minutes. And I'm like, bro, we got like literally an hour and 55 minutes left. I felt like I was scared they were going to slap a maxi pad for like an hour on all that blood and let it soak up and we just get shitty dialogue, you know what I mean? But no, literally the first like 30 minutes of this movie is like we get like 19 kills or like 16, we get in the teens, like the double digits within
Oh yeah.
15 minutes of this
Yeah.
movie. We get Chris, was
Like
it Chris
each movie,
Jericho?
yeah.
Was that the
Yeah.
WWE wrestler Chris
That's-
Jericho?
yeah, that's literally what
you know
yeah,
what?
yeah.
You know what? That is one of my biggest disappointments. Not a gripe, but just a disappointment. Is I really wanted Jericho to like actually fight back for a little bit.
Body slam.
I was like, I would have laughed so hard if he gave Art's headless body the walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking sick would that be?
I know Jericho's a massive horror head. Like
Yeah.
he's a huge fan of horror. So
Yeah,
yeah, that didn't
definitely.
surprise me when he popped up in there. I was like, oh, that's cool to see you in here.
Yeah, I was just like, man, I wanted to see a little more, but I did
For
see
sure,
someone.
for sure.
I did see someone on Reddit say because there's obviously going to be a Terrifier 4.
Yeah.
Someone on Reddit was like, man, what if the end of Terrifier 4 is like they end up physically in hell, and the way Art finally goes down is like all of his victims gang up on him Endgame style. And then I commented, on your left, but it's Jericho with a steel chair.
No. See, thank you. You mind meld. You read my mind. So I wanted to bleed into Marvel. Okay, so this opening, the first thing we see in this movie is the first production credit, and I want to assume it's Damien's production studio he may have started called Cineverse, and it's literally the Marvel red with the Marvel font, and it says Cineverse, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm watching the movie and it's like the dad's a comic book artist with schizophrenia. He sees this prophecy happening. And by the end of the movie, they're just building her into a superhero. So I'm like, is this just like the 2020s like answer to The Boys in 2004? You know what I mean?
That's
like,
so weird. You're so right. It's the exact same font. It's the exact same style. Whether they put it in any color, that is so weird. That's
with
so
her
strange.
being built as a prophecy, but also the prophecy.
Nobody tell the mouse.
Through the father's eyes, who is a comic book artist and drew her as this comic hero, and now she's like martyred like as a saint by the end of it, and she has like godlike healing powers. She's just gonna be Wonder Woman fighting Art, so it's like Captain America facing a demonic mime for 5 more movies.
I'm so with it because this movie went from just like waka waka I'm killing here to basically they're about to give us season 4 of the Spawn HBO show that we never
I'm so excited. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say all the demonology stuff that they've like added into it. At first I was kind of like, did he even get revived or did he just not die when he shot himself in the head? You know, is the pale girl even a real thing or is he just hallucinating? But then as the movie goes on, you obviously, by the time you get to the end and they're, again, Freddy Krueger style, killing him 4 times, but they didn't follow the right rules, so it doesn't count. It does have an internal logic that is consistent. They both were somehow appointed by heaven and hell respectively, and Art has this demon that's working with him, and she just is getting like this heavenly power or whatever. And in the first one, I kind of thought that killing her and bringing her back was like a bit much, but as we went into this one and we see some snippets of the dad, and he says, this is a blade that will let her defeat any bad guy, but it will never hurt her. And so when we get to the end of this movie,
when she's grabbing with the cousin, I forget the name too, but yeah, when she has a cousin, like
Abigail, I think.
Abigail, yeah.
So yeah, but then also in that final showdown when they're all like everyone's like strapped down and she's like, "Oh, I have the present for you," and she gives it to her. As she's opening it, her hands are all fucked up. But then the moment she touches the sword, she has the strength to start fighting. And I was like, "Yeah, you showed the sword bring her back from the dead last time. I can't be upset that this just did that. You've shown me the logic."
I know exactly what Austin's about to say.
This is why I'm glad you watched all these back to back to back, because I was waiting this whole time. I saw her like barely being able to open the box. She opens the box and she like grips Abigail with a hug, and I'm like, Chad's gonna get so pissed. Because there's no reason her hands should be working.
There was eternal logic.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. That and that's what I'm saying. Like the movie, like you said, is strangely consistent. Like it is very much, and that is very. It is. I will say, applaud to you for endearing all of these movies at once. But B, it did pay off, buddy. Like
I'm glad too, because when I watched the first one, I was like, cool, I'm gonna hate all three of these. Can't wait to bring that energy.
That's what I was waiting for.
But then, and that's why I didn't want to say anything, especially once I started liking 2 and 3. I was like, okay, I definitely don't want that, like, to tip them off that I like went on a emotional growth journey throughout the Terrifier trilogy. But like the logic is consistent enough, and it genuinely does remind me of Spawn. She's basically
so fucking funny, dude. And you're absolutely right. That's wild. That's such a great comparison.
I felt
down to the Violator. You're absolutely right. Like
she's basically Violator. That's exactly what I was just thinking.
That's fucking
how
crazy.
Chad has felt throughout these 3 movies. I felt in that last act of this 3rd movie. Like even the 2nd movie, I remember being like, that was fun and it was really gross, but whatever. And the first half of this movie, that opening scene, I was like, oh yeah, I'm sold. But then like the rest of the movie, I was like, okay, it's really gory, but whatever. And then that last act when she's tied up and we get that rat scene. That's all I'm gonna say is that rat scene. Man. We can get into it.
Let's talk about some of the gore. So after this, we'll talk about the rats.
Yeah,
real quick, I want to just say, Vicky's actress, or whoever played Vicky post possession, after she died in the bathtub and became this demonic possessed corpse, that whole last act with her acting was so fucking fun. It wasn't like great acting or bad acting. It was just fun fucking delivery.
I genuinely liked all of the acting of her in this 3rd one.
Yeah.
I think this was the strong. I'll say that in general. I think all of them, we were talking about it before. I think this has the strongest acting of all 3 of them. It's not like top tier.
It's not just
even the guy they hired to play a cop for 45 seconds did it very competently.
And it's not just because they're clowns, though, but like the fact that like my favorite type of evil is like happy evil. Like manically happy, surging evil. Like Funny Games in a way is kind of like that because they're very calm.
Like Evil Dead mommy.
in Evil Dead, exactly. Like this whole last act bleeds Evil Dead 2. Like when he's fighting his own hand. Yeah. That's what it felt like.
Oh, I meant what's her
character
name? What's her name from Evil Dead Rise?
Mommy.
Yeah,
Ginger mommy. Redhead mommy. Oh yeah, we know.
Exactly.
Austin's favorite flavor.
When are we going to cover Necrophile or Necromantic 2? By the way, just out of curiosity.
Oh boy.
Anyways,
I've probably healed from the first one enough by now.
But yeah, 100%. The Evil Dead comparison, absolutely there. And
yeah,
like they're literally.
Yeah, he cites all of that.
Even when you think of
Deadites.
When you think of the attractions in the Terrifier, like the giant skeleton thing and like the giant evil rat thing, those are very like Evil Dead coded. Those are like very much like the kind of little, or not little, but like the tree. Like they remind me of the
Yeah,
tree. It
yeah, yeah,
seems
yeah,
like
for
the
sure.
other effects of the Necronomicon kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
also with that last act, like there was a lot of like believable twists that actually surprisingly got me. Like when I saw that like they had that whole way too long speech in like the beginning where she loves to open her gifts, I'm like, oh, that's gonna come back around, whatever, that's gonna come back. Like she likes to reopen and hide her Christmas
Yeah,
gifts.
boy
But
did
like
it.
later in that third act we get like that bird cage with a head in it, and
Yeah,
it's revealed to be Abigail's
exactly.
head.
That's
I was like, oh shit,
exactly.
well that's kind of lame that they
That's
like did that off
clever.
camera. But
Yeah.
and then we find out something else
Yeah.
which was also lame and I didn't like,
I
but
don't
we'll get
believe
to
it.
that.
I
Neither
don't
do
believe
I.
it.
Not at all. It was revealed to be the brother's head because he put the
He
glasses on him.
he
I
he
there's
he
no
he
way.
he degloved another man's head during this movie, which was insane. I'm guessing Austin knows what degloving is.
Yes, unfortunately, I know what degloving is. I was
Yeah.
on Live Leak way too much in high school.
A lot of the stuff that he does, honestly, is derived from medieval torture methods. A
Yeah,
lot
like
a
the
lot of
rats.
what
Oh
art
shit,
does. The
yeah.
rats.
Yeah.
I was like, why is the tube open ended? You're supposed to
Yeah.
take like a
No.
like a bronze pot and put it over their
Yeah,
stomach.
their stomach,
Hmm.
yeah, and they
Like
eat through,
Hmm.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
will
but
say
as
that
soon as I saw the torch, I was like, "Oh no shit! Like that's what he's doing."
they missed a step there though, because he shouldn't have slit her throat to let the rats out. They should have just eaten their way out. I
Yeah.
think
Oh
we're doing
yeah, yeah, for
demons. We're
sure. But
doing
we
demon
gotta.
stuff. You
Well,
could have
let's
demonically,
why don't you explain this kill for everybody? Because this was the
Oh man,
chainsaw scene
It's
is the most
so
memorable,
good.
but this was my favorite because it was like the most gratuitous, hands down.
God,
The
what?
chainsaw
So
scene was pretty fucked, and this
That's
one I
gonna
ain't gonna
be the
lie. But
bedroom scene of this movie that people
I don't
remember for
know.
sure.
But I think the rat one is pretty fucking up there for me though. Too.
yeah,
That's
the
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 thing. That's
rat
a
and the
yeah,
chainsaw are both pretty bad. The chainsaw
yeah,
Okay,
scene, the chainsaw scene is kind of funny though
let me
because
sorry, real quick for Joey. Let me put it this way: the chainsaw scene is the single. It's the single for the album,
and the
but
rat scene's the
but the
sleeper
rat scene is
banger.
that deep cut fucking ripper of a song.
yeah, I think of everything that we saw, like that's kind of the thing too, is like you
Yeah.
you mentioned sort of like the superhero-y element of it with like her
Yeah.
becoming like heaven's
Mhm.
envoy and everything.
Yeah.
Um, the people in these movies have like an anime level of endurance. Like in anime,
Yeah.
someone will get
100%.
stabbed and lose an arm and still be fighting and shit.
Yeah.
Like when in the second one, Allie, the other friend that gets killed, and he like scalps her and he skins her and he cuts off multiple limbs, and then when the mom gets there, he's like still carving on her and she's still alive. She's missing three limbs, the top of her
Jesus
head, her brain is
Christ.
exposed, her face is gone, her chest is open.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, you kind of got to call it a little bit sooner. Like a lot of these kills, I was like when he's getting Mia in the shower with the chainsaw
Yeah.
Mm,
after he cuts off Cole's leg and makes him like useless. He's like cut into his hands and everything. He like takes a wide swipe and just like scalps her,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then he
Yep.
starts like taking swipes across her face, and then he's
That
like
was
taking
so
off her
funny.
limbs and everything. And
He
I
gores
really
her
loved
stomach
this.
too.
I
Hmm.
really loved this part though because she's like she's a podcast host, and let me tell you,
Yeah.
podcast hosts deserve the worst. So
They really, yeah.
so
Amen, brother.
she's terrible. She sucks so bad, and like when we see one clip of her podcast, it seems like she's like, no, these kids like went through something, and her co-host is like, oh, she fucking did it. Like she's nuts. They never found this
Yeah.
guy's
Yeah.
body. This
Shout out
chick
to
did it.
Annie Alderman too. I love seeing her on screen. She's a comic. I was like, that's fucking awesome that she's in there.
Oh,
Who
that's
was that? Was that the
Yeah.
counter on the podcast? The counter
Yeah,
host?
yeah. She's the counter
Oh, I
host
didn't
on
even.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a comedian. She's funny as hell.
that's what I'm gonna start calling you guys, my counter hosts, because you always find me. Um, but she had said, so it kind of goes back and forth. Like she's too excited about it, but then we see her podcast and it seems like maybe her heart's in the right place. But then when we see her later interact with Sienna, she's like, oh, just do like some get ready with me's. Like show us like what you eat every
Yeah,
day to
yeah,
cope with the fact that your mom fucking got mashed potatoes shoved down her throat, you know? like what the fuck?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but oh my god, I was dying laughing in the theater, kind of in a lead up to this, the Cole and Mia, the boyfriend and girlfriend. This is Jonathan's roommate at college and
Mm-hmm.
his girlfriend, who is the podcast host. So they're together in her room and they're like talking about, all the stuff. And she starts talking about art. And and he's like right around the corner listening to them. And she goes, he's only the most famous serial killer since Jack the Ripper. And Art goes,
Yeah, he's like, oh, stop.
like
Yeah.
all of his reaction. And then she's like, I just want to smell him. And he like smells his armpit. He's like, eh.
Yeah.
And then the guy goes, it just sounds like you want to fuck him. And she goes, I do not want to fuck him. And then Art's like, oh, rats.
Yeah, that's when it just becomes like an all out, like, he's like, all right, fuck it, I'll go for it. I know. Dude, all his like
She
physical
says,
acting is so good.
oh, so good,
Movie,
so
dude.
so good in
So
all three
good.
of them. He's been flawless the entire time.
Yeah,
He's been
yeah,
flawless in all three. But when
100%.
he has her as like all fucked up in the shower, he leans in and he has like these. He's got his Santa getup and he has these like Christmas, New Year's glasses kind of things on with like Christmas trees, and he takes them out and he makes eye contact with her because she had been saying, I just want so badly to know what it's like to be in the room with that
Yeah.
evil and to see him and to feel his breath on you and to like, all those things. And he just looks at her like, you got your wish.
Mm-hmm.
Here
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am.
It's so, that's what I'm saying. This shit is so nihilistic in the sense of like that scene in particular, but also just in general of like the buildup of the family and like her coming back and reconciling with everybody and trying
They
to
did
do
a
all this.
much better job this time.
100%.
It was pretty good in two. It was actually really good in this.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I think I don't know if I've said it on mic, but my feelings on two, I I liked the fact that they attempted to like give this story substance. I like that they attempted to actually put a story into this. I don't know how well they executed it for me. I think it would drag on a bit too fucking long,
Yeah.
a bit too long,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. This one was like the magnum opus of the series. I feel this was like the best one. They felt the pacing was right. The characters I felt great with, and that's what I'm saying. That's what made that ending. Once that ending hit, and then you just see everyone fucking sprawled out everywhere. I was like, oh, okay. Let's do it.
When you say magnum opus, this franchise, I'm really banking on the fourth one because the more we talk about this, the more this franchise,
for sure, so far
in a series, no, 100%. But this franchise feels so far like puberty. Let me explain.
No,
we got 3 movies
with
so
your
far.
ass. I inherently know what you're fucking saying.
All right, nephew. Let me hear you.
We got the first movie, right? That's freshman year. We're kind of dorky. We're kind of copping the swag of what all the seniors are doing. We don't really know what we're doing, but we're trying to be a little too edgy to make a name for ourselves. We're going up to the biggest guy in the room and we're slapping his dick, Second movie, we're sophomores, We're about 15. We're still kind of stupid, but we're getting our grounding.
The crazy thing about it being a sophomore is you're actually often hard more.
But yeah, no, you got a little chin hairs on your chinny chin and shit. You get a girlfriend, you're getting some groundwork down there. You get the third one, you're in junior year, you're getting your license, you can go places, you're losing your virginity, you're really making a name for yourself. And this next movie is going to be so fucking solid, I swear to God. And I really hope to God, I don't know why, but I just have a feeling this would work the best, especially with the response. With the way they took Christianity so blatantly like offensive and blasphemous in this one. I want them to focus on Easter. I want this to be a holiday movie. First one's Halloween. Second one's kind of like Halloween 2 where it continues off. The third one's Christmas. I would love to see art during Easter.
Yeah, Easter bunny.
Just really hammer in.
Yeah,
really hammer in the 9 Inch Nails on the fucking blasphemy.
I think that could work simply because we get like this one throwaway scene in this movie, which I haven't really seen anyone talk about online. But she has one of her like flashbacks to her dad, like telling her about this angel character.
Scene was sick. That scene was fucking sick. I
where we
loved
see
it.
like a fucking urukai on a leash being
Yeah,
held by
yeah.
a Virgin Mary statue, and it's forging the
Statue,
blade. It
statue, but then the statue fucking moves and it's a
yes.
prosthetic face. I was like, whoa, what the
Yeah,
fuck? That's
yeah, but I think it's
awesome.
supposed to literally be just a living statue,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
holding this force of evil
yeah.
hostage to make it create weapons that heaven can use.
This is
Again,
so badass.
very Spawn, very
Yeah, dude,
Spawn.
you're
Remember,
totally right. Holy
remember how I
shit.
in a previous episode, I think it was Dead or Alive, I said make them kiss when I was talking about like when you play with your GI Joes when you're
Yeah,
a
yeah.
kid and you see the explosions as fucking Cobra Kai commander is like hanging off the edge of the cliff. Like this movie is what I get out of that, but as a 30-year-old adult. Like it's so stupid. This is Mandy, but if Mandy was made by the Sci-Fi Channel. Like this is
Damn,
just
that's fair. Yeah,
so
because
fun. It's
Mandy
dumb and
definitely
fun.
had the fucking visuals to back it up.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
didn't
the vision.
expect the visuals to be this trippy in this movie, but like when that scene with the flashback hit, that was easily my favorite segment of the movie.
It has like that Chucky series, like the seasons that they
Oh
have now. There's
yeah,
like 4 seasons
yeah.
so far. Like it has that quality of humor and gore to it, but it does. It has that like that scene in particular with the welder with the being chained down. Like it felt straight out of Mandy, like when he takes the liquid poisonous
Mm-hmm.
LSD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
He hella just reminded me of a fucking urukai, but
No,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
like
I absolutely. Yeah, 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 100%. It's so cool, but that's what I'm saying. The movie, this one just surprised me on so many different levels.
Yeah.
But like it was absolutely impressive. Like it is so fucking cool to see.
s-
And
s-
then also on the fact that like it also got a wide-ish release. Like
it's
it's not
actually
wide, but it's
It's
it
wide.
is right now the best performing clown led film in the theater.
Yeah.
And that
Dude,
sounds silly, but it's doing better than Joker
So
20,
too. It's
20
silly.
doing
million.
it's doing better than a major
Yeah,
studio
yeah.
DC Batman
Do not
Joker
get
movie.
me fucking started on that
Even even
18 point
bullshit
like
ass.
7 million
even
box
with all
office.
those things, the fact that people aren't just going to see that movie because it's called the Joker,
Yeah.
like that is
You got
just
my fucking leg going already.
it's
I'm getting
just
worked up thinking about that fucking movie, man.
it's just insane, and it's like a weird irony to be like,
It's
yeah,
hilarious. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
in the words of Art the Clown.
The
The irony is that Joey hates the
devil.
Joker too. Joey
No,
hates the
go.
Joker too that much, and I hated Beetlejuice 2024
Yeah,
AD
yeah.
even more. And then this is just those two movies mushed together, but if it was good,
Yeah,
Let's
for
and we
let's
sure.
love
let's
it.
That's
let's just
fucking
say
fair.
let's just say for anyone out there that thinks I'm a negative Nancy, just be glad that you've never had to hear me talk about the Snyder Cut.
I know what we're
Okay,
covering.
That's its own 4 hour
okay,
episode.
all right,
Okay.
okay.
No, yeah, I fucking dude, that's what I'm saying. It was so impressive this time around. I'm gonna keep using that word, but like it was just I went into this full cards on the table, just laying it out there. I did not go into this with like great expectations.
No.
I because of my exact feelings for one and two, and knowing that I was just like, all right, it's probably gonna just be more of an effects reel, probably more of a story that they're gonna try and put in there or whatever. And then the entire time I was fucking engaged and like in that seat, like actually fucking cheering on when that music hit in the mall.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah.
Oh my
Also,
god, when he did the Blood Angel.
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that
what I
was
mean. Like
great.
that's why that scene is gonna be like the single to the movie because
Yeah,
like
for
that
sure.
like that scene ends and it leads to him exhausted, like I'm pooped, and he sits down like
Yeah,
huffing.
yeah,
And then that music kicks in, the Art the
yeah.
Clown original music, and then he's doing a Blood Angel for Christmas. And I'm
Did
like,
you
are you
guys
fucking kidding me?
did you guys
Yeah.
notice at all that he's wearing two pairs of shoes?
No.
Mm-mm.
When he dresses up like Santa, he has his clown shoes on inside the boots. Look at his feet.
That's funny as fuck, dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he has
That's
the fucking
hilarious.
clown shoes on still while
God
he's
damn
wearing
it,
the
dude.
boots.
That's
So you can
so
see that the
funny.
boots are like being hella stretched at the front.
I do
love
want to
that
bring up
shit so
this
much.
is like a quick scene that almost gets glanced over. I almost glanced like looked past it until like towards the end of the movie when I was thinking about it on the way home. But I really liked one of the opening scenes when they break out Vicky from the mental ward and they're on the subway. and it's right around Halloween. And you're in this universe. Art the Clown is like a known serial killer, and we get that subway on Halloween scene where that guy dressed up as Art the Clown gets on, and they're sitting there.
You get a bus scene in this one.
I love this scene though, because like they don't necessarily kill everybody they see, and I kind of like that about them, or at least it's implied that they might not, because they do kind of lean into the fact that he does just think they're in costume for Halloween, and he's just like, "Oh, you fucking killed it. That looks great. Let me get a picture." And they look so pissed off, and then they just smile.
Yeah,
and then it just cuts. There's no implicit like intent of them killing him.
No, for sure.
There's a couple of those.
While I was watching that, I was like, "What was the point?"
Well, he did. They did kill him. You guys didn't. You guys didn't.
No.
I was gonna say, yeah, I did catch that because later on she's using the camera, right?
Oh,
well, no. It's that when they walk in, she's honking the guy's horn, and Art suddenly has a pristine costume.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
They killed him and stole his clothes and his props.
Yeah. I didn't even pick up on that. I thought he just had his horn.
Because I also thought that he was just like, the guy's giving me respect. I'll let him slide.
Yeah.
Like there are kind of a couple moments that like sort of seem like that, but then he just does big murders anyway.
Because like,
which is fine. He's an agent of chaos.
He wants to kill because he likes to kill, but there is this weird thing with respect for him. He's kind of like a mafia boss. He's a level 99 mafia boss.
Yeah, for sure.
It kind of weirds me out how offended he gets when she spits in his face. He gets like so mad about it in the second movie. She spits a bunch of blood in his face, and then he throws her through the floor like 20 feet to the ground, and then he spits on her. And or it's just it's like, I don't know, dude, you just murdered her whole family. Like,
and like in the bar, he's clearly like goading them into doing something. Like he's pissing on them, spitting liquor in their face. But at the same time, he leans into it. So I'm like, if you just be nice to him, like he kind of goes with it until you're disrespectful, and he has this pouty face every time.
Dude,
like
but he disrespects you so much. Like they were playing along with him, and then he spits the shot in his face. And then he pisses on his leg. So it's and then after he pisses on his leg, Art is genuinely funny. At first, I didn't think so, but he's genuinely funny. After he pisses on the dude's leg, and the guy like Santa pisses on Santa's leg, and Santa's like, "You motherfucker, I'll fucking kill you." And after like when he first came in, he's like, "I'm in the suit. It doesn't matter if he's an adult. It doesn't matter if he's Elvis.
Exactly.
I'm in the suit. He gets the full experience." That is what it is. And then he's like, "You motherfucker, I will kill you." And the bartender's holding him back, and Art's behind the bartender going,
it's so good, dude. So good. That's what I'm saying. Like
he's a fantastic performer.
Absolutely. Like all of that shit stands out so well, and like all of his like facial fucking expressions when he's like looking through the bag and shit, and he's just like what's in the bag. I was like, oh, we're just gonna immediately get the kill right off the bat, and he just like pulls out what the fuck does he pull out?
The horn.
The horn, that's right. He just pulls the horn and honks it. I was just like, that's fucking awesome.
Just my favorite like my favorite facial delivery for him was right at that beginning scene when he's just like hawk touring that guy in the throat, the husband in bed, and then like she turns the light on, screams, and he's just pointing and laughing. He's like pointing at the body, laughing, like holding his stomach, pointing at her, like waving. Just hacking. Like I'm just like,
and in the middle of that, like right before he starts chasing her, he's laughing and he points at her, and then he goes like this. He's holding the axe and he goes, and then comes after like the axe is for you.
That's so good, dude. It's so again, he's just Bugs Bunny. That's all he fucking is. He's just
I would actually kill to see an animated Art versus Bugs Bunny.
Oh my god.
That'd be great.
That would actually be pretty good. Come on,
great,
Chuck Schultz been dead a long time, man. We got to be getting pretty close.
I would rather be getting
pretty close. Obviously, Bugs wins.
I think it would work better, honestly, with Roger Rabbit in that universe. You got like the baby with the cigar. You got Roger Rabbit.
He's the surprise fucking like the third opponent.
Spy versus spy, but it's Art the Clown pops in halfway through.
Yo, the quasi Blood Eagle in this movie was pretty intense too.
Great, dude.
Was that in this one or was that in 3 where he like breaks her arm backwards?
It's in 3. It's in 3.
And then he I think it's in 2. It's the one where he pours bleach and then he gets a handful of salt and like puts
Yeah,
it like
that's in her
rubs it
room.
on her back
Yeah,
and
that's what I was
That's
everything.
thinking of.
disgusting.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. I always thought it was salt. What did you say it was salt?
He comes in with
it's
bleach and he
bleach,
he
and
pours
then
bleach all
yeah.
over her, and
Oh,
then he has the mordant salt. You know,
yeah, I just remember he rubbed salt in her body. Oh my
That's what I'm
God. I
saying,
hate
dude. Like,
that.
as that's what I respect about this series, about how like a nihilistic it is, just how fucking God is dead, and how
Mhm.
everything is just done. You have no hope whatsoever, and like most of the movie, I'll say, except for Sienna's obviously last bit at the end where she bests him, and we go on, but most of the movie is just like, yeah, there's no hope here. Everybody dies. Like everybody's gonna get it
they
today. Like everybody's gonna get it in the worst way, and
they
you're
do
gonna
a very
watch.
good they do a very good job with the moments where like everyone's tied up and who's going to come to save them.
Hmm.
They do a good job of explaining why they're able to save themselves. So
Mhm.
like in that last
Yeah,
scene
yeah,
with the sword and everything, like when she's like, you didn't get to open my present, and she was like, well, that's not fair. I was like, okay, this is pretty stupid. But then as the scene progressed and as they like break her hands before they give it to her and everything, I was like, okay, they're not idiots. Like they did this in like a pretty, for the most part, thought out way. They
for
just didn't
sure.
know that the sword would magically instantaneously heal her hands.
Healer. Yeah,
Because
exactly. Because
as soon as
I
she puts
was
her hands in the
even.
box, it heals her.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like that's what I was confused because I didn't remember part two and all that. But then after I think we had talked about it or something like that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I could just heal her. That's
Because
Mhm.
okay. Perfectly
personal,
fine.
personally speaking, having broken my hand, like I don't know, it's probably like 10 years
Uh,
ago now, but I got a pretty bad boxer fracture. This bone was like
that's metal
not
as
it
fuck,
it
dog.
wasn't a compound fracture, but I could see it was like pushing the skin.
Blech.
Like it was
Blech.
not right.
Woo!
So when they like bashed the shit out of her hand are definitely worse than mine were.
Mhm.
And with what I had, I would not have been able to grip anything.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
with that, just with one, I
Yeah,
think it's a
I've gotten the boxer.
metacarpal.
Yeah. I was saying I got in the boxer. I've only gotten a fracture, but yeah, that shit does
Speaking
not
of
allow any grip, bro.
something they don't focus on a lot.
Instant
And
regret. I really wished that life had save points that day. I was like,
Yeah.
it's a quick load.
I
Yeah.
understand that the gore comes first, and with that, you want blood and a lot of it. But what I liked a lot about this ending scene when she cuts her hand is when you see the inside of her palms and you see those slice marks, you see the fat more than anything. And you don't see that a lot in gore. You don't see that a lot in practical effects because the blood is what people want to see. But to see how much like fatty tissue was in a prosthetic effect, it was just jarring, but in a really interesting way. I don't know how to explain it much, but like you just
No,
see
I feel
organs
it.
and mush. It gets kind of old after a while. But when I
Mhm.
saw the inside of her palms and it was like that fat protruding, that really actually bothered the piss out of me. Like I was like
Mhm.
annoyed
Mhm.
at how grossed out I got. And I was like, oh yeah, you don't see fat tissue in movies. It was
Speak,
crazy.
Yeah.
speaking of bodies and their fluid content, Art is so full of liquid. He is so full of liquid at all times. Like when they're in the shower and he's pissing, it just sounds like he's just fucking pouring out a 5 gallon bucket
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
fucking urinal.
yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how hydrated is this man? He just
That's
sat. He just
that's
sat in an attic for five
it's
years.
the same equivalent to the fucking the handkerchief, the pulling out the
Hmm.
handkerchief,
When Peter Griffin's pulling it out and he's just
and
puking
then is he
constantly. Is that what
puking?
you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
All the
when
liquid.
he fucking when he like bleeds as well. Obviously, he bleeds a lot.
Oh
That
yeah.
the shower kill. Just to kind of go back to that. Um, do one of you guys want to describe it? I feel like I've just been talking a lot. So
No, you're good because
No,
you
no, I
just saw
love
these, so
listening
it's
to
nice because
it.
like it's almost like an
Exactly.
episode for me as I'm
okay,
recording it.
okay.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
even because I
Yeah.
missed an episode last time. Um, but yeah, I mean, he rapes him with the chainsaw. That's
Oh
Yeah,
exactly what he
yeah,
does.
that was fucked, dude. That was
He
really fucked.
he rapes him with the chainsaw and then he flips him over, and it's weird because like I didn't realize it was unrated, so I was just like, I wonder how much they will and won't show. But they end up showing you like his mangled cock and
Everything.
balls,
yeah.
Yeah,
See,
and
I'm
everything.
his
glad. I'm glad you said it was unrated though right now because I was so
I think
confused
I think
at
all of
how I
them
was.
have been.
but like I haven't seen one in theaters, so like I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah.
confused as to how I was seeing dismembered,
I
just
was
pureed cock and ball on a
Yeah, yeah.
TV screen
Faces
in a
of death
theater.
shit.
Yeah.
I was just reading a second ago because after you guys said that, I just checked it. I was like, is that true? Like
Yeah,
how the fuck?
yeah.
So the last unrated movie that came out was a Beyonce concert they were like parents knew what to expect. So it wasn't like a big deal that it wasn't rated by the MPAA.
Oh,
Um,
it's funny as fuck.
and then now this one, and literally theaters are just like the reason it got carried is that theaters are like, if we don't carry it, we're not going to make the money on it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They're going to go to
Yeah.
another theater that
Yep.
has it, and we're going to be screwed. So we have to carry it, even though it's unrated.
I also love that my local theater has Art the Clown buckets. They have like the popcorn buckets, like specialty. I was like, that's fucking sick,
Do
dude.
not put your dick in that.
Yeah.
I was gonna
do
say, do you
not.
think it's gonna be like the Dussy
The
from Dune
Dussy?
2? But
I
it's
was
just
gonna
like the
say-
guy's mangled crotch.
Mm-hmm. God. I was
Oh
surprised.
yeah, I forgot he has the Dussy. He's getting it right now. He's got the Dussy.
The Dussy.
Did you know that it's like the ratio, like the? Did you know
Did you
that?
know
Like,
that if you put
wait,
a towel in
no,
there,
stop, no, better,
Thank
better,
you, that was
better,
funny.
better. Hold on, wait. The actual like metrics, like the size of that thing, is the exact measurements to put a fleshlight in, close it, and then you can put it right there.
Oh yeah, I wonder how you found that one out.
damn son, how'd you find that?
So yeah, that shower scene's really cool. You want to explain
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that essayed with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
I do think it is a response to the first movie. And like without even looking it up, I already know 100% that there
I
are
see what you
Reddit
mean.
comments going, that was so unnecessary. You basically raped and murdered this woman at the same time. You know, like what the fuck? So then he was like, yeah, I'll do it to a guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, we're all about equality here.
Are we even now? You know. But it was more earned. It was more earned. So when this happened, I felt it more. The other one, I was like, that was a cool effect. I wish you would have saved it for a better movie, but that was a cool effect.
For sure. Yeah.
It's funny that you put it that way too, because when you he used like a hand axle, right? Like a
Yeah, literally
in the first one.
a hacksaw.
It's literally all gas, no brakes. Like it's a middle finger, and he's just slapping a motor on the same scene.
Yo,
And he's like, "Fuck you." They have a penis.
by the time this movie evolves from like literally like we see his headless body at the beginning walk to the asylum where Victoria has just given birth to his living head, and then he shows up, and it's so weird because this town is like
that,
such a
real quick. Is that what happened? She gave birth to his head. That was an umbilical cord.
yeah. That because
I have my foot on the desk right now. I didn't even.
Yeah, remember her belly just grows all of a sudden.
I was so just thrown off by the amount of gore I was seeing in Succession that I really didn't even catch that. I thought that was just a spinal cord.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I do think Leone has a period blood fetish. I do think he needs to.
I don't blame the guy.
He needs to chill with that. There's like 6 scenes in these 3 movies of women of varying ages, from children to like, adult women, just like being like, what if I just like shit and period blooded all over the floor right now? How sick would that be?
Well, when you put it that way, you're making it a lot less hot. I mean, what?
And hey, I mean, I don't care. I'm down to get slick, get dirty.
Are you down to clown, Chad? Are you down to clown?
It's not what I go for. I'm not like, damn, babe, catch me in 3 weeks. This shit ain't doing it for me. Like,
turn my face into a fucking Rorschach. Let's go, boys. all right, let's get. We do have to cut that part. That's embarrassing.
It's saying it. If I have to answer the door for Amazon in the middle of this, I want them to call the police. You just go to the door butt naked with blood all over your dick and your face.
You know. You got to put the sneakers on like an American Psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to get like the Adidas's. No. You know those paintings that a lot of women will do.
Adidas.
They'll dip their ass in paint in their hands and they'll sit on the canvas.
No, but I will be informing
Yeah,
Amanda
yeah.
about
So
this
you
later.
paint your ass cheeks and you paint the palms of your hand and your back and you lay down and you have someone lift you up and it's like an imprint. It's like a popular thing. We got to make that a trend where you do X and then you do Y and then you got a beautiful painting. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you do it with period blood on your dick. That's what he's saying.
I was saying my face, but yeah, that too.
I would say it my face. Whoa, that's so crazy. This black and white impression of Pagliacci with this dark red across
How are we
it.
going to clip this episode? We got essays with a chainsaw
There's
and eating
fucking
women
no
out on their
way.
period.
There's no way.
It's just going to be like, we're sorry, this week there cannot be clips. We talked about Terrifier.
We're going to
Yeah,
save this for the
exactly.
Patreon whenever we decide to actually put it up.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
God,
we go from his headless body killing a cop and then putting his head on top of his body and holding it in place
That
so he
was
could get
funny as shit,
so he could get
dude.
across town. It's
that
so
was
strange.
That was some Beetlejuice ass shit. Dude.
That made
was
me laugh.
So fucking funny.
It's weird how it's like this fictional kind of like small town, and they haven't really explained, but that's just like the language of these kinds of films. It happens in like a sleepy little small suburban town. You know, you never thought it could happen here, but they have like incredible public transport, including apparently a subway that he rides multiple times. So it's kind of just like,
yeah.
and like they have a subway, they have a psychiatric hospital, they have a university. It's just like, what is this fucking town, man? You know, it's a little hard to place. They should have just been like, it happened in New York, because that would not have changed anything. But constantly being like Miles County, when you refer to a place as the county, it's like pretty podunk, you know.
Yeah,
so like the public transport kind of like took me out, but all of those scenes are funny, so whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny. The town I grew up in the Midwest, there's literally a psychiatric hospital next to the community college, and next to the community college is a Subway sandwich shop.
Oh my god,
that's all I could think about. Is I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty small town. I mean, it makes sense.
You guys want to know something fucked up that's real? Me and Amanda used to live across, like we lived in like this little cul-de-sac. It was like all units, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a street. It was just like this little driveway. So it was all rental units. And first of all, the place we were renting used to be a plantation. And the place that we lived used to be where the workers, big air quotes there, lived. God you know, damn, so that's pretty fucking dark, right?
Jesus, fuck yeah, that is.
They're like, yeah, the house back there that has the two biggest units in it, that was where the master lived, and they just cut the house in half. And you know, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
God damn.
So that's already dark. But then across the street from us was a meth dealer. And one night,
here we go.
We had a lot of issues with this guy. One night, me and Amanda were at home just hanging out, and all of a sudden we see someone on our Ring camera. Or no, we were in the bedroom, and all of a sudden someone's at our window trying to open the window and come in.
Oh hell no.
And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And I jumped up and I ran to the front, and I think I still have the footage because we did have a Ring camera. It was right there.
Yeah.
So I come outside, and there's this like little old fucking meth head lady all twacked out, and she mistook our unit for his, and she was trying to climb in the window to fucking buy meth. And I was like, you need to fucking get out of here. She's like, you know who the fuck I am? And I'm like, yeah, a tweaker, get the fuck out. Like look, it's not my first choice to put my hands on the old lady, but like if you're whacked out and you're trying to come into my house and it comes to it, obviously I'm gonna fucking defend my girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like very dramatic living there. We had like times where literally SWAT would come, and Amanda and I would stay up till like 4 a.m. because we were simply like, look, the police are facing him, but we're across from him and he's facing this way. So if he starts shooting at them, we need to be cognizant of that so we can fucking like be okay. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to just wake up to the gunshots. But anyway, he had this one girl that would always hang out with him, and she was like more like around our age, like late 20s. And she was like not there. I don't know if it was drug psychosis. I don't know if it was like her actual circumstance or what it was, but like she would like be having a conversation with a parking block. Like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And the old ladies that like lived in that little community started telling us, and I don't know how true it is, but they would tell us that her father was like the head psychiatrist at St. George's Psychiatric Hospital, which is like a famous, if you get 5150 to the Bay Area, that's where you get sent to.
Mm.
But these ladies just alleged, and again, I don't know how true it is, probably not, but they said he experimented on her. That's why she's the way she is.
Oh, lobotomy.
Like, I don't know, she was all fucked up, man. Like she just could not interact like a human, but she would always hang out. She was like in her like late 20s, and the guy who sold meth was like 60 something, and they were a couple.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's all you
So
had to say.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, speaking of psychiatric hospitals and the runoff and everything, you know what I mean?
I was trying to
Yeah.
think of like a meth and meta Lolita joke, but I couldn't think of one quick enough. But there's something there that
Pieces are
you
there.
can piece together.
That's pretty fucking funny. So back to the movie. I
That
will
got so
say,
sad. I'm sorry.
it really did. Back to the movie. I will say,
Oh,
again, a small gripe, but I feel like with magic in play, there may be an explanation. But why does no one ever say, why are your hands absolutely covered in blood? And as the
yes.
movie goes on, like when he gets
Yeah.
on the bus at the end, the lady's like, oh, I'm kind of creeped out here, but maybe I'm like reading something that's not there. The guy is head to foot covered in blood.
He's dying. He's like
Why
stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah.
why would the bus driver even pull over for that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You know
that,
what I
and
mean?
it's like in the mall when he's passing out the gifts to the kids. He's clearly wearing a man's skin on his face, and his hands are covered in blood.
Yeah,
But
so it's like maybe there's some magic at play, you know?
the magic. I'm glad that you brought up magic at play because I have a question for someone that just like triple teamed themselves with this. Just got gang banged by this clown all day today. So magic at play. Am I forgetting like something that happened in the second movie? Because we were just talking about completely mythical women that are just drugged out of their minds. That little clown girl in the second movie, what the fuck happened to her? Did she die in that one?
She was, I mean, I think what we need to like what we're supposed to draw from it is that she was like his first victim.
Okay.
That she like
Because
started him down this path. So I didn't understand why she was the demon. I guess if the demon is just using that avatar, but like
oh,
but like it wouldn't
that's kind of
bother
what
him.
that's what I took from it.
It wouldn't bother him to be like, oh, there's that girl I killed. Ah, stop tormenting me, demon. You know,
so
I guess he thinks it's funny.
So that was because
Yeah.
it seemed like they just threw it away in this one because they never really brought it up at all, except for like one time they bring up a note from the second movie that was like shown to another character.
She's the demon inside of Victoria's body.
That's all I was wondering. Okay, so that
Yeah.
makes more sense. Okay, because I knew there was a demon that had possessed Victoria, but I couldn't remember what the purpose of that little clown girl was, and I'm like, are we just forgetting her? Are we like just is this not canon anymore? So that makes more sense. Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
That's yeah.
Because she doesn't
I kinda
talk,
got
I
lost
think,
with
in
that
the
one,
second
too.
one either. So when that voice starts coming out, I'm like, I don't recognize the voice of the demon at all. So I was just
I
what's
didn't
up?
even think about that, but it was smart to give a mouthpiece to that
Mhm.
side, even if it's
Yeah.
only even if it's only temporary.
Yeah.
I do expect that at the very end of the final Terrifier movie, Art's going to say something. I don't think
I don't
You
know.
think so?
It
Is
he
it like
should,
Silent
but I
Bob?
hope not.
that
I hope not.
I think he's going to silent Bob, and I wouldn't be surprised if the thing that he silent Bobs is just like the meekest, most terrified little voice, just being like, "Please, like, I didn't mean it," like something like that. Like I wouldn't be surprised
like
if like
the Joker. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses.
yeah, pretty much, you know, like some shit like that. You wouldn't jonk a guy with glasses, would you?
Did you sit through the credits, Chad, or did you leave?
I left.
Okay.
I looked up whether there was a scene, and I didn't see anything. Was there?
Because I'm not sure. So I waited as long as I could, and then I said fuck it when the lights came on. Because with that whole Marvel like production credit thing and how they're clearly setting up a superhero movie, I thought it would be the funniest shit ever if they did a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I didn't see one, but I was just curious, and I
hear
forgot to
just
look
art
it up.
about one, yeah.
If they end this series, if Art is and at first, like going into it, I expected Art to just be totally invincible, and I
Mhm.
didn't expect like a final girl victory over evil, like nothing like that. And
Mhm.
I do appreciate that the first movie was just evil triumphing. The second movie, they won, but it wasn't permanent. And then this movie is almost like a stalemate in the end
Yeah.
because
Yeah, yeah.
she destroys Victoria. The whole thing is that this demon is backing Art, and something in heaven is backing her for some reason, and that basically they've been chosen to oppose each other to play out just this
Mhm.
sick game.
This
And
shouldn't be so badass when you explain it. It's so goofy, but I get so hyped. It's
when
like,
when
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
when we got to the point, like we started with like the headless body killing Chris Jericho. She's given birth to his head. They go to a warehouse and then they just sit down for 5 years.
yeah.
You know, like it's just like all
Yeah.
this kind of ridiculous shit. We've got chainsaw rapes. We've got blood
Jesus Christ.
eagles. We've got domestic terrorists. We've got
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, we've got mass shootings. All of these things,
Masturbation with glass.
Yeah, that shit
and
was
yep,
fucking disgusting.
and then the movie ends with a fucking chainsaw sword fight, much like Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy, I was gonna
Oh
say.
yeah.
And by the time it got there, I was like, you have completely earned this. This is completely appropriate. This is totally fine. Like I almost feel like they like look back and I'm like, yeah, go play with your friends. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
But
that
it
too.
was cool. I liked it. It was a good fight.
And you feel so desensitized from the gore at this point that when they're fighting like that in the kitchen and in the living room, you see clear as day like the uncle like decapitated and splayed open, like when he shoves her
Oh my
face in
God.
her
It's
uncle's
the
stomach
yeah, the fucking
and then
open crevice, yeah.
chokes her with his
The
intestines that she has to
intestines was
chew through.
wild.
She has to chew through the half digested shit in his intestines.
That's
That's
fucking
hardcore.
disgusting,
You know,
yeah.
in the first movie, I will say when he puts the cellophane over Victoria's face, this is the first time in a movie I've ever seen anyone do what I thought of doing when I was like 8 years old, having seen like six horror movies. I was like, yeah, if anyone ever puts a plastic bag over your head, open your mouth, lean forward, and then put your fingers in your mouth because you've now
Mhm.
created tension and you can rip the bag open. And she
Mhm.
did
Yeah,
it. And I was like,
yeah.
son of a bitch! Finally, someone like just does the common sense thing to do. I feel like it's common sense,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't totally expect to. Like before I saw the first one, I was like, these are probably bangers. I'm
Mhm.
excited to get to them eventually. Saw the first one and I was like, fuck, these are going to be terrible. And then it got
Yeah.
better. And I think this one ending with uh, Abigail in hell. You know, basically she dropped her and dropped the sword. Art ran away. Victoria's gone. The pale girl is gone for the moment. Um, and yeah, I really think the next movie we're pretty much gonna get they both go to hell and they fight in hell.
And that excites me because with those
Yeah.
80s icons, like they're really focusing on slashers in these first two. I really want them to just straight up rip from Hellraiser 2 when the daughter, when the
Oh
living person,
yeah.
the girl goes to the maze in hell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
That shit was
I
hard,
want
dude. I
all
love
of,
that one.
like you know how we see her friend and her schizophrenic like flashback at the dinner table scene. I want
Mhm.
her to have to like run into all of them. They're trapped down there, like the guilt of
Yeah,
all that. You see all of
God,
the
that'd be
corpses from the
so
previous
sick.
three movies.
Yeah,
Like her aunt is there with her like, Chelsea Grin face full of
for
rats.
sure.
well, that too because it would also elevate from being like a psychological thing to like literal. Like she was like, "Oh, I've been punishing myself for all of this," and they're like, "Oh, you silly, we hate you much more than you think we do."
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
you know, like that's yeah. I think the next one will have to have more agency for Sienna. I think
Hmm.
after the first one, after the second one, she was broken. She went into this movie. She's like trying to heal, trying to be better. Now she just, after all of this, you know, she just fully knows he's a demonic, otherworldly, supernaturally powered entity. She's being powered, you know, just as strongly by the other side of the spectrum. There's going to be no end to this until one or both of them is fully, totally dead.
This
Yeah.
third movie is literally Martyrs if it was like an origin like Iron Man or Captain America. Like Martyrs ends and
Literally.
she gets Christ
Literally.
like super soldier serum, and it's
That's
amazing.
yeah,
Like
literally that.
Yeah.
she rips the
And
crown of thorns off, her
you
hands
were
heal, and she's like,
complete.
I am Christ.
Yeah, you were completely
Wow,
right
I didn't even
earlier.
think about the
That's
Christ
literally.
delusion right there.
Oh,
You're
that's
totally
literally
right.
what it was. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that immediately. Yeah.
Because they were talking about how
Because
they want to
it's anti-stigmata. You're right.
Yeah.
I just watched Butterfly Effect, so remember when he goes back
Yeah.
and then Kevin Durant in super brown face is just like orally, that's some freaky. I made myself laugh. I couldn't even get through the joke.
You got to-
Hey, c'est bon, Holmes.
Is that the dude that's in every movie? Is he the dude with the monkey in Bruce Almighty?
Oh God, I don't know, but he's
I
he's
have
his
no idea.
he's his cellmate, and he's like very clearly a white guy.
Oh my
But they just
God.
Oh,
like
never mind.
they
That's
just
not
like
who I'm thinking of.
They just drew a like dirt mustache across his
and a teardrop.
yeah, and just had him like call everyone a hota.
Yeah.
No, but it really is. It's I always joke about this movie I want to cover one day called Easter Casket that I found in like 2013 at a
talking
horror
about that one.
convention from a local director. And it's the
That is
same
a cool
thing.
name.
It's just
Yeah.
it's Power Rangers meets the Catholic Church meets puppetry meets the Easter Bunny, and it's amazing. But like this, it's just like there's always that joke about like making a Mortal Kombat game, making a video fighter like Def Jam Fight for New York, but it's all like Vishnu and God and Jesus Christ and all of the figures. And this is the closest we've gotten to that. It's just if Christ was a superhero at the end of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
God, there is something like that. I'm trying.
Is it I am the PlayStation? I saw a thumbnail for it. PlayStation, it's like a game. It's like I am Christ or something.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I was like, what the fuck is this? And I saw a PlayStation official posted it. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Man, there's I know there's an anime that it's about like Jesus. Oh, it's called Saint Young Men, and it's about Jesus and Buddha as roommates.
I've seen
That's
clips of it,
funny
like
as shit.
thumbnails, stills of it. Yeah.
I wish I could think of what I'm thinking of, but there's like a book that phrases all of Jesus's travels as like, what if Jesus was a karate master? So it's
That's
sort of
this
like
movie.
Yeah,
it's like
literally.
Jesus is just like traveling the world and like refining his martial arts, and like
Oh
as
my
a
God, dude,
as the byproduct of that, he's like, you know, turning fish and loaves and like all, you know, water into wine and everything.
I love that this movie by the end of it is just Pacific Rim, but it's Jesus Christ and the devil
my
fighting
God,
through the
yeah.
conduits of these two people, and it is fucking hilarious. That's all.
Flesh
I gotta say.
Mecca.
This is
Flesh Meccas.
Flesh Mecca.
Flesh
Please
Mecca.
tell me that's a thing. Is that a real word, or did you make it up?
Well, that's like I've seen a joke about like if two pregnant ladies fight, it's like the babies are having a mech battle.
All right, that was funny. That was funny.
God.
That's what it is. So okay,
Yeah.
what are we? Let's get into the ratings of this one then.
Do we have to rate it? We just glazed this movie.
Yeah, I was
for
gonna say.
an hour and a half.
I mean, it is an unrated film.
It is an unrated film, but yeah, like just horns up, horns down. If we think you should go and check this one out immediately, or if you can wait on streaming, you know.
I guess horns up, horns down, but let's also say, you know, of the three, what was like the most fucked up thing to you? So I'll say horns up, and I'll say definitely the most fucked up kill. Just off the top of my head, 2 and 3 are kind of blending together, but Aunt Jess with the tube down her throat when he's hammering the tube and like splitting her jaw open. Oh boy,
Yeah.
Now I know what it's like sucking on Austin.
I got that schmeat. That super hot fire, if you will.
Fucking disgusting. Yeah.
Got that girthy capicola. No,
horns
what?
way
Horns
up.
Up. Horns Cialis
Horns
fully.
up. Horns up.
Horns engorged.
I don't know. Yeah, they're kind of the two, it's been so long since I've seen, like I said, I just remember the bedroom scene just because that's the one that everyone, again, that's the single. I will say probably out of all three of them, I think the chainsaw one is probably gonna like stick with me a little bit more. But beyond that, it was probably one of the kids. I don't know, but the whole movie is just covered in ick. Like it's covered in dark, like
It's
a
covered
mood.
in dark.
It's covered in just fucking like
It's
mood,
covered
bro.
in
Like
adjective.
yeah, it's it's so like it's just a fucking nasty feeling you leave with these movies. It's great, man. I love it so much. So yeah, horns way up. What about you, Austin?
My tiefling's horns are throbbing as I romance this movie. I just got Baldur's Gate 3. I'm sorry. God, I want to date that devil in that game. But not Cortana, but it starts with a K. I don't fucking know. She's hot though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's the demon girl. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, oh,
Garlock.
Carlock. Oh my God. Oh, salute to that.
Anyway,
Um, no, oh, horns up, just throbbing, girthy, meaty, juicy,
so fucking
tender
stupid.
loins. This movie is. No,
Damn
this movie's great. Best, not the best scene. The most fucked up scene for me. There's like a caveat to it because like the most genuinely like gross scene for me is that bedroom scene in the second one. From what I can remember, just because like the chainsaw scene will be remembered for like how off the wall it is because it just keeps going and going, and that bedroom scene does keep going and going, but there is like a comedic quality to how ridiculous that chainsaw scene is. It's so like fantastical
It's
in
like
just how
Tim and
far it
Eric.
goes. But it's just the I can't think of the word, like the just the hatred in that bedroom scene, like
That's what I'm
packing
saying, dude.
salt
That's what
and
I'm
bleach. Like
saying.
there's like
It's
the
just a
kill,
mean
and then
movie.
it's mean. Yeah, it's just something
Yeah.
so fucking heartless and mean about it. It's
Yeah.
like that murder is like he murders you, keeps you alive long enough to bully you with packing
Yeah.
salt, goes
Yeah.
nana and a
Yes.
boo boo, rubs salt in your eyes, and then blows your head off. Like it's so fucking
Yeah, like
mean.
pissing on your corpse would be the least oppressive thing that he's done
Yeah.
to it already.
I'd appreciate it if you did. It'd take some of the salt out of there. No, but that's the most fucked up one. And my favorite, it, it, it's the chainsaw's the most fun, but my favorite is the rat scene so far, and that's the one that everyone's talking about. I noticed today when I was looking it up after seeing it yesterday. It's the most. I don't want to say creative because it is something that is a medieval torture, but just the way they go about it, like the
It's
clear
creative in its
tube,
new
you
execution.
and you see the rat going in, you see like
Hmm.
the bulging of the throat, and when they
Yeah,
cut it, it's
it's great.
oh, and then he stomps out the fucking murder weapon at the end. It's like
Yeah.
oh, he's stomping out the rats. He's doing Charlie work down there.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
movie.
He
This
is he
movie's
Yeah.
great.
is
I will say beyond the fact that the chainsaw was the most gruesome, I think for me, like the most fucked up. That was probably my favorite execution was the rats scene.
Yeah,
That is super creative.
I want to say the last thing I want to say is I love these movies not because they're great movies, but I love this movie because we've had movies in the last couple of years like Talk to Me and other films of these YouTubers branching out into like big silver screen budget films.
Hmm.
This movie isn't someone necessarily from YouTube, but it's the closest we've gotten to a movie that feels like the internet. He feels like a content creator where you find him at like 2,500 subs and he's just making some schlock content in his bedroom, and you
Yeah.
see the growth in real time. You see the budget increase, you
Yeah.
see his Patreon numbers go up, you see the experience he's learning in real time with each movie, and I like seeing progression in movies from creators.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. I will also say this is the best I think art's ever looked.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this was the best design on the makeup and everything. It was super
Mm-hmm.
good.
yeah. I just read a comment on Reddit that said to the demo guy who found Vicky, you deserved that glass to the neck. Why would you ever get that close to a dead body? And
Yeah.
then the next comment, he must have been a huge Logan Paul fan. Fuck the
Uh,
Pauls. No.
with
I
that
mean, I
being
mean, not nah.
said,
I do mean it.
with that being said, this is a really good segue into our next episode that we're dropping next week. This is gonna drop on Thursday, so I've got a long night ahead of me.
Mm.
We've got excellent interview. We've already queued it up on the last episode, but we're interviewing Jesse Corman, the lead singer of the number 12 Looks Like You. He is also a producer on many, many films, has photographed pretty much everyone in Hollywood. And also
some in DC, some in music,
some in politics.
Yeah, literally, yeah. We go into a
big
lot
Twilight stan.
Crazy fun episode. But one of the things that we brought up in that episode was his work. So if you've seen any of the billboards, any of the promotional material for Terrifier 3, you are seeing Jesse Corman's work. He was on set to do all of the still photography. And so we got to talk to him a little bit about that. That was recorded months ago. So, obviously what we talk about, I don't know if we even hinted at when the release date was or anything. Like, this kind of just snuck up on all of us. But yeah, I just thought that was a really nice little intro into that interview, because we are so fucking proud that that's even happening. We were excited at the end of this last episode, clearly, but yeah, I can't reiterate it again after listening to it myself again. It's such a fucking fun episode.
If you don't know this man from name or his, his bands, his music, his body of work, think of Connect the Dots. This man is the dot at the end that connects it all. This man just has his fucking all 10 digits of his toes and fingies in each different part of media.
If you ever wonder why your life is not cool, it's because all that potential coolness is being used by Jesse.
Yeah, you will be Pepe Sylvia red threading this man's career.
Yeah,
like it's.
And the interview is us doing that in real time.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. We realize a lot of shit as we're talking to him. It's fucking fun, dude. So much fun. But yeah, you guys can find us on Facebook at the Devil's Work Podcast, and on Instagram at the Devil's Work Pod, TikTok, Devil's Work Podcast.
I like that inflection.
Yes, Devil's Work Podcast.
The Devil's Work Podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
And
go to the club.
And then we have our email set up at the Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com. You can let us know what we missed, your thoughts on any episodes, any upcoming ones you want us to cover, anything like that. This was a lot of fucking fun. I'm really glad we got to cover this one. This was again just a very big, pleasant surprise for me. I did not expect this series to grow on me like that. So
can I change my answer for what the most horrifying part of the movie is, or the part that sticks with me?
You may.
It's actually at the begining when they put out the milk and cookies. That milk is so fucking curdled by now, bro. That is something I don't miss about having male roommates and being a 20-year-old is curdled milk.
Dude, that's fucking gross, man. We'll cover Black Christmas one day, the 2000 whatever one. That was
the 2019 one.
No,
or I'm not doing it.
One.
The worst movie ever fucking
made. Fuck that one and fuck you. All right, thank you guys for listening.